Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hey renters, have you ever had a landlord do something that didn't seem legal? Have you ever wondered if you have any rights as a renter? Well, you do, but it's not always clear what they are. That's why Solid Grounds Tenant Services offers free online renters webinars 3 times a month. Just go to solid-ground.org/RAR to learn more. This is a free opportunity to learn more about your rights as a renter. Again, just go to solid-ground.org/RAR.
Xavier Holmes, Alex Jackson.
From day one, charter public schools set us up for success.
We learn from teachers who create tailored lesson plans and collaborate with classmates from diverse backgrounds.
As a result, many of us outperform students in traditional public schools.
And we all walk away better prepared for our futures.
Learn more at wacharters.org. Paid for by Washington State Charter Schools Association.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
On Rainier Avenue Radio.world, look for the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show. I'm Dennis Weaver, your good food guide and host, helping you to feel good and look good, and who wouldn't want some of that? All that and more from the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Stories, songs, and guests. Begin living the organic good food life, and the rest of your life just may be the best of your life. Always up, baby, to your health.
Seattle Opera presents the world premiere of Jubilee. Jubilee follows the historic Fisk Jubilee Singers' initial tours following the Civil War. While raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, Speak Up Seattle. We are Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares.
Don't forget.
Yo, it's 7 o'clock and we're back. It's time for LidLine Sports. Hey, what's happening, y'all? We are back. I am Pep. O is here with us, and man, I thought I was gonna forget how to do this. We've been on a hiatus for like 3 weeks.
I was just telling my lady, I was like, I don't know why I'm nervous today.
Right? You got the butterflies and the jitters and blah, 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 blah. So hopefully I'm not mumbling and stumbling and fumbling, bumbling, whatever. But yeah, we should. It's gonna be a good show. Look, if you like the NFL, you're gonna love the show. If you hate the NFL, you're gonna hate the show. So, because tonight is gonna be focused mostly on the NFL because we got a lot to catch up on. Right? The NFL is in its second week, almost the third week now, going on to the third week. Currently, the two bird teams are playing. Right now, the Dirty Birds and the Kelly Green Birds. So we'll get into all of that. O's got something he's been itching to talk about for a while now with the Bryce Young situation. And of course, there was new developments with that today. So that should be interesting. But before we get to all that, let's go to some other stuff real quick. Let's go to the Mariners. Mariners are 4 games over 500 at 77-73. They just took 3 out of 4 from the Texas Rangers, which is a good thing. And so they're still in the hunt, so to speak. The problem is, when they win, the Astros are winning. So
Yeah.
the division looking pretty slim to none.
Yeah.
Their best chance, and it might be the only chance, would be to get in via wild card, and even that is very slim because the teams that they are behind all have the tiebreaker against them. So if they have to play a 163 game, it's going to be on the road for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also too, when the Astros are losing, the Mariners are losing. So
Right.
that hasn't.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything to really help. They haven't done a lot to hurt, even though there was a stretch when we first went on our hiatus that the Mariners were playing pretty bad baseball. But they have started to turn around just a tad bit. Like I said, just enough to now just peek their heads through and possibly once again try to make one of these heroic runs that they seem to find themselves in this predicament for the last 2-3 years. I hear you, Pep. There's really not much to be optimistic about. I totally get it. I told you though. I told you that I was here and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to see this all the way through for the regular season and just see what happens. I know we talked a while for a minute saying that they had no chance of even making it in the wild card, but said they're here now, 2 games out, and you never know how the card's going to fall.
Well, Minnesota just free falling,
yeah.
And so, yeah, Kansas City was on a free fall for a while, but then they picked back up since. So they're right back up there with Cleveland. And then Boston took a dive. So I think Boston is actually below us now.
Yep.
So yeah.
So I don't know, Pep. I mean, Julio's playing better. Now the starting pitching has kind of been inconsistent once again outside of what's his name? Brian Wu. He is electric, and he has pretty much put in a stamp that he is untradeable at this point.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Kirby pitched the gym yesterday.
He did. But as of right now, if the Mariners in the future maybe are aggressive to be a trade, he's untouchable. And Brian Wu, and maybe the others can be moved for the right price, but Brian Wu cannot be moved for anybody.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, he is potentially a Cy Young candidate.
And that's the one they're going to be asking about.
Yep.
They say, oh, okay, give us Wu and we'll give you blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And even if it does come down to, if, like I said, we're just speaking in the future, if Logan or Kirby is possibly on the trade block, like I said, it's only for the best of piece. It's not just for a farm system.
No.
Clearinghouse, but I hope not.
Oh, you got to get a bona fide, bat.
Yeah,
a run, run driver, basic spray hitter, whatever, all fields and over the fence and whatnot. Yeah, you need somebody with some power, with some consistency.
Yeah,
for sure. Because listen, I don't need another 210 guy that can get me 20. Right? I'm tired of those.
Yeah, but I hear you, Pep. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I'm the most optimistic that we'll be playing. Be playing baseball in October. We have a tough stretch with the Yankees coming in town. Then
tomorrow.
And then the Astros, I think the Rangers one more time, Astros, and then closing out with the A's. Pretty much got to sweep the A's. We got to win every series. I don't see that with the Yankees, even though they're kind of catching the Yankees kind of at the right time with Aaron Judge not being at the pace that he was at just 3 weeks ago. But the Astros is going to be pretty much that tell-all series of how that season will go. I'm not even going to put this on the last series against Oakland. I think by that time the season would already be set on what could possibly happen. So we'll see what happens these next 2 weeks. But you're right, I'm not too optimistic.
Man, I wish the Mariners had Oakland's bats.
I know, right?
And Oakland wishes they had Mariner pitching because they'd
Yep.
be 20 games over 500, and
Yep.
so and us too as well, vice versa. So
That's a good point.
man, because I really like Rooker. I like Seth Brown. I like oh, there's another cat I like over there. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. But Oakland's got some guys that I like, and it's hard to trade with your own division, right?
Yep.
It's like, okay, we'll give you this pitcher, and it's like, oh my God, now we got to face this guy, right?
Yeah.
So
I do have a question. I know
Mhm.
we are in the last month. Pretty much, I think we know who contenders are. Who are your top two contenders on the AL side and the NL side?
Well, of course, the AL, I gotta say the Yankees are top.
Agree.
And I can't, and it's hard to decide between the Orioles and the Guardians for me, because they're like neck and neck,
Uh-huh.
as far as what damage they can do. Now, look, the playoffs are a whole different entity because the Orioles lit it up last year in the regular season, and then they got in the playoffs and couldn't win a game, right? And so, and that also happened to somebody else in the National League. You get in the playoffs and you can't win a game. So
Dodgers,
right. And so, the Guardians are 87-64, and they're a half game behind the Yankees for overall best in the American League. The Orioles are 3 games back behind the Yankees. So, barring any real drop off by the Yanks, they should win that division. There's like 11 games to go. So blowing a 3-game lead with 11 games isn't unheard of, but it's hard to do.
Yep.
Especially if you're playing games within your division, because teams are beating up on each other. And that's the problem with the Mariners, what they have going against trying to get to the wild card spot, because the teams that are ahead of them, a lot of those teams are playing
each other. Yeah.
And so the winner is going to, be good, but the loser is the one that's not going to move on, but that's not going to help the Mariners at all. The Mariners are like on a treadmill right now. They're just jogging, right? And they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No, that's their problem. Yeah. So it
What
doesn't
about
look
the-
good for them. What was that?
So what about the NL side? Who do you like?
Oh, well, the NL, of course, you got to like the Phillies and the Dodgers. The Brewers are a nice surprise. They're 86-63 on top comfortably in the NL Central. The Phillies are 90-59, comfortably ahead of the NL East. And the Dodgers right now in a little bit of a dogfight with the Padres, who have worked their way up. They're 19 games over 500. And, when the Mariners went down to San Diego about a couple of months ago, Mariners actually had a better record than San Diego, and they were, they swept them down there.
Yep.
And then since then, San Diego's been on a tear, and the Diamondbacks, they're right there too. Diamondbacks are 5 games behind the Dodgers. The Padres are 3.5 back. So, like I said, with 11 games to go, 10, 11 games to go, anything can happen. But, the Dodgers, they've been pretty steady all season, so I'd be pretty surprised if they gave up the lead, in the last week of the season for sure.
Yeah, I think they'll hold on to the NL West title. But I think you did say a team that I think we're starting to learn in this playoffs. Those teams going in hot in the playoffs are the teams that make deep runs. And you said the Padres, and that's a team that I'm going to keep my eye on if they can hold that top wild card spot, maybe catch the Dodgers. I got my eye on them. I got my eye on the Phillies. And then on the AL side, I like the Yankees, but I would like to see some fluidity here in September. But I hate to say it because they're in our division, but the Astros are cruising right now, and I think they've caught on to playing good baseball at the right time. I can see them, if Justin Verlander can somehow work through whatever is going on with him pitching-wise, I can see them making it back to the World Series again. But I do like the Guardians as well too.
Yeah, and I can't not mention the New York Mets. They've
Yeah.
actually passed the Atlanta Braves for
Mhm.
second place in the NL East, so they're up in the wild card hunt too. So if they sneak in, they could be kind of
They can. Another hot team. You're
yeah,
right.
and it's funny because the Mariners manhandled them when they were here, right? It's
Mhm.
like, man, what the heck?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what's going on in the Major League Baseball. So the playoffs will be starting soon. The end of the season's coming up, so we're in the last couple of weeks. Like I said, there's 10, 11 games left, so let's see what's going to happen.
If you can get to a game, because it'll be their last of September, possibly.
Right. I did make the last series for the Everett Aqua Sox,
Okay.
right, a couple weeks ago. I went to a Friday game because they were in a series with the Spokane Indians, and how they're still called the Indians. Wow, that's beyond me, but okay. Anyway, they won the game we went to was the best game of the year.
Really?
They won. Yeah, they won 14-12. That game was
Sheesh.
fire.
I
Bro,
love
mean,
some
it
high
was
octane
fire.
baseball. Yeah.
Everybody was hitting. I mean, I think they asked me to come in and hit. You know, sheesh, everybody was getting base hits and home runs and whatnot. It was fire. We really enjoyed ourselves. And then found out they lost the last two games, so I know we went to the best game. Yep. Also, real quick, I went to my son's wedding a couple of weeks ago.
I seen that. Congrats.
That was awesome. Yeah. It took me a while to come down off of that high. So, and then my coworker, he got married, and he calls me Papa because I'm much older than him. Because I told I told him that his brother got married. So he said, "Oh, I'm getting married too." I was like, "What?" So he got married Friday, and he showed me pictures, and it's so funny because when he showed me the pictures, his new wife looks similar to my son's new wife, and then I saw a picture of his father-in-law, or his now father-in-law, walking his wife, and that dude looked just like my son's father-in-law. I'm like, what the heck? So I had to pull out my phone. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? It was just hilarious, good stuff. But yeah,
that was fun. It
was great.
I got to go to Universal Studios for the first time in Hollywood.
Oh, nice.
My girlfriend, and it was a rush. I got to see Harry Potter thingy, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
Oh, okay. Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. I'm
sure Doreen her antenna is up because she's a big Harry Potter lover. So now she's like, oh, so now you got a new fan, probably.
Man. I was that kid that my mom was getting me books as soon as they came out after the first one. And then when I would get into a little bit of trouble in high school, if I used to do like the little in-school suspension sometimes.
What? You? One of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. Are you kidding me? In trouble? No way.
There was one time I think I had that for like a week in high school, and I finished all of the Harry Potter books again.
Wow.
Fell in love with them all over. So I was like a kid in the candy store at going to the Harry Potter party Universal Studios.
Man, that's good for you.
Yeah, man. And then of course my girl made fun of me. We went on the Jurassic Park ride, and like a little surprise dip, and I lost it and started screaming. And she kind of there was a picture that was taken of me. It was bad, man. But
you never know what you're gonna learn when you listen to us. I'm telling you, because I'm learning and loving this. This is awesome. Yeah, I'll be down in LA next month for another wedding.
Nice.
Doreen's niece is getting married, so we're gonna go down for that. So we'll be down here for a few days. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, because I need a vacation, bro. Trust me. But yeah, so let's get into some NFL. Enough of all the sidebar stuff. Look, we try to get in as much as we can since we've been gone for so long.
I know.
Oh, long, man! It felt like it was like all summer, right?
Pretty much. That's the way it really feels like to us. And especially with us getting so much into the Olympics and then just a straight drop off. It really felt like we had really went on a hiatus for like 2-3 months, and it was only like 4 weeks.
Yep. Oh man! So the NFL is underway. It's in its finishing up the second week. Like we said, Atlanta and Philly are playing right now. Atlanta's up 15-10 in the third quarter. I got a friend of mine that's from Philly, so I'm sure he's frowning right about now. I know some Dirty Bird fans. The Falcons really need this one, though, to be honest. They're 0-1, and you got New Orleans and Tampa both at 2-0. Yes, so Atlanta cannot be too far behind. The Eagles, if they lose, it won't be the end of the world, even though it's tough to lose a game at home, but it won't be the end of the world. That whole division will be 1-1, except for the Giants, who will be 0-2. So, any surprises so far for you?
I guess not really a surprise. I think just more like it's really good. Like the feel-good story continues with Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off to a really solid start at 2-0, beating the Lions last Sunday on the road, man. So it's just really good to like I said, these feel-good stories of Baker Mayfield. Was he comeback player of the year last year?
Maybe. Wow, that's a good question.
I don't remember, but even if he wasn't, he should have been. But now seeing that carry on and trying to take Tampa Bay up to the next level of competing at a higher level after losing in the first round of Detroit, it's really good to see what they're doing overall. So that is my somewhat, I guess, surprise. But like I said, a really good win against Detroit, who we know are Super Bowl favorites. So to start,
a former Seahawk coach is credited with helping Baker be the guy that he is right now. Dave Canales, he was a Seahawk
I heard that
coaching staff for quite a while before he moved to Tampa last season, and he's been called somewhat of a quarterback guru. He's actually helped Geno get to the point where he's at. So, unfortunately, he's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and so far has not found the same type of magic as of yet. Oh, you want to elaborate on some of that, brother?
Yeah. Bryce Young, quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, we know didn't have a good season last year, and we can all say, yes, defense didn't help because they gave up so many points. Offensive line. Bryce Young is always on the run, having to make quick reads. But at the end of the day, Pep, with the start that he's having, I get it. There's a lot going on with the Carolina Panthers. They're overall just not a good team. But I have kind of broken down some film with Bryce Young, and he is a big liability at the quarterback position. I've watched a lot of his interceptions is just not making the right reads. There was an interception, I think either the last game or the game against the Chargers, but I think it was the Saints, where he was making a read. Team was they were in the zone, and he had a chance to just check down. He had two guys just open, and he forces the football in between two defenders and gets picked off. And that's just not passing your transgressions, making your reads. That's on him. Right. There's been a lot of times where, like I said, when he is making the wrong throw to the wrong receiver who's not open. And then watching him too, I didn't know. I knew he was a smaller guy, but he's really small. He's as big as I am.
Yes.
And I don't know, Pep. I know he's lost his starting position for next week or this Sunday.
Yes.
Like I said, I get it. There's a lot going on with the Carolina Panthers, but as of right now, he has not shown that he is an NFL quarterback. I can't go with all these different excuses, which may not be excuses because they are true, but he is also a big part of the problem. So I can't give him any more excuses. And the Carolina Panthers got it wrong when they select him number one, or maybe I am wrong. And maybe even if they did get what's his name from the Texans at number one, maybe he wouldn't be looking at as good either in the Panthers jersey. I don't know. So I can't go off the what ifs and the and the different types of those scenarios. I can only go off what has happened, and that is what I've been seeing since Bryce Young has put on the Panthers jersey.
Yeah, that's pretty fair to say because look, if CJ Stroud's with Carolina and their personnel and their scheme, he might be struggling too.
Yeah.
Right. Because look at the personnel between Houston and Carolina; it's not even close.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Last year, Houston wasn't even projected to be anything, but they turned out to be a playoff team.
Exactly.
So and then of course they got studs. They got Nico Collins at wide receiver. They got running backs. They've got a very good. They got weapons, right?
Can we say
that's really helpful?
Would
But
you say the Panthers have weapons, though, Pep?
No. Well, they got Adam Thielen, right? Okay, and who else?
David Moore. That's all I can think of.
Ex-Mariner, ex-Seahawk.
Yeah.
Moore? Okay. Yeah. Well, boy, did he make a mistake, right? 'Cause he chose to go there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's rough. I don't want to say that the Carolina Panthers have ruined him, but the Carolina Panthers may have ruined him. I mean, the problem is you start him. He's had 18 starts total, so he started all last year, and you let him live with it, right? And then hopefully, in the off season, you work, you try to improve. But in 2 games, they've scored 13 points, and the defense has given up 73. So they haven't even been close in any game so far.
Yep.
Which is hard on a quarterback that's still struggling.
Uh-huh.
That you're asking him to try and stay in the game, and your defense can't keep you in the game. So but like you said, if he's making these wrong reads, then obviously he needs work. He needs to get in the lab, do some work, and just Now look, I don't even want to say this. Watch Andy Dalton because everybody knows the people that know me know I cannot stand Andy Dalton.
He had a good game last time he played for the
Well, he almost beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. He played a good game against us, but I do not like Andy Dalton. If Andy Dalton's your quarterback, you don't have a quarterback. But he does have experience.
Yeah.
Right? So if he's got to watch Andy, and if Andy has even a little bit of success, then obviously they've made the right move and sitting him down, because you can't make the guy just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Different results. That's insanity. So anyway, so before we start talking other stuff, we're gonna go to commercial here in about 30 seconds. But so second half of the show, of course, we're gonna talk about other NFL teams before we get directly into the local team, the Seattle Super.
Seattle
Man,
Super.
where am I?
I like that.
What am I doing? The Seattle. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. The Seattle Seahawks. They are 2-0, and Mike McDonald. There's a little bit of trivia before we go to the break. Can you name a coach that has started the Seattle Seahawks tenure at 2-0? That's not interim. Can you name them?
Did Pete Carroll ever start 2-0?
You can't name them because there is none.
Oh, okay.
Mike McDonald's the only
Good
one.
one.
So when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Seahawks and the rest of the NFL. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen. Speak Up Seattle. We are Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Demetrius Jazz Alley. Tonight, it's Seattle's born and bred trumpeter, singer Jermaine Smith. One night only on tour in support of his new release, Come On Home. Tuesday and Wednesday is the Headhunters' 50th anniversary and album release celebration, live from Brooklyn Bowl. Tickets and information on jazzalley.com.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Join Rainier Avenue Radio from 5 to midnight for Sunday evening sound sessions. Jazz from the cabinets, from Big Poppy.
That's right. It's time once again for Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy.
Sergio LaCour's Love Lines.
It's Sergio's Love Lines with Sergio LaCour. Go to the phone line. Tell her who we talking to.
Sage Prince, Just My Opinion.
This is Sage, and that's just about going to do it for the first half of Just My Opinion.
K-Fox Night Beat with Nasty Nets Rodriguez.
It's the beat of the Fox. K-Fox Night Beat, Nasty Nets.
You know what? You're going to listen from 5 to midnight. Just turn it on and don't stop. DJ Alibaba, the underground surround sound star time. Paul Pincher.
Tuning in, my name is Paul Pearson.
Sunday evening sound sessions on Rainier Avenue Radio. Trust me, you'll be listening the entire time from 5 to mid Sunday evening. Your sound session on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Xavier Holmes, Alex Jackson.
From day one, charter public schools set us up for success.
We learn from teachers who create tailored lesson plans
And collaborate with classmates from diverse backgrounds. As a result, many of us outperform students in traditional public schools.
And we all walk away better prepared for our futures.
Learn more at wacharters.org. Paid for by Washington State Charter Schools Association.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not translating the lyrics of Boogie Oogie Oogie for bored Europeans, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Well, it looks like it's debate week. Welcome back. I am Poe with the Poe. Man, woo! That's what happens when you're out for a while. But I'm Pep with Harry Potter Stevenson. This week we've got some debates going on live here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. City Council position number 8 debate Wednesday at 6 p.m. Washington Attorney General debate Thursday at 7 p.m. and Washington OSPI debate September 26th at 7 p.m. So if you love debates, make sure you tune in right here live on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Yes, I'm not Poe. I am Pep. So Mr. Potter Stevenson, we were talking about the Seahawks and the NFL. Before we get into the Seahawks, let's run down some NFL stuff. I'm in a group chat with some guys that I've known for probably a lot of them most of my life. And so the subject of sleeper teams came up recently, and a couple guys were naming their sleeper teams, one from the AFC and one from the NFC. I named mine. Do you have any sleeper teams before I get into mine?
Man, I want to say the Pittsburgh Steelers on the AFC can possibly be a sleeper team. We know stout defense, not giving up much points. If they can just find some offense consistently, just enough to keep winning games, I can see them maybe not winning the AFC North. I understand Baltimore's gotten off to a slow start. I think they will pick it up, but possibly getting the wild card spot and being a tough team that nobody will want to play, regardless in any playoff scenario. They're still the Pittsburgh Steelers, and as long as Mike Tomlin is the head coach there, they will always have a chance. And It's been noticed so far with the 2-0 start with Justin Fields as quarterback, not even Russell Wilson. So
Right.
Maybe even with Russell Wilson, if he comes back, or if Justin Fields keeps winning, we'll see. Maybe the offense can start getting rolling a little bit. And on the NFC side, the way these guys are playing, I have two. The Minnesota Vikings have gotten out to a really solid start right now. And then if the New Orleans Saints can score like this on a consistent basis, man, that's going to be a team that nobody is going to want to play. So those are my teams who I think are under the radar teams.
I like it. Very good. For those that don't know, if you're going to define a sleeper team is a team that did not make the playoffs the year before. So you can't say like the Houston Texans are a sleeper team. They're not or Detroit. They're not a sleeper team because they were in the playoffs last year. So you got to pick a team that nobody's really talking much about. And then all of a sudden, you think, bam, here they are. And in the AFC, I said Indianapolis, even though they've gone to an 0-2 start. I'm saying I made these decisions before the season started. So don't roll your eyes when I say the Colts, because I'm rolling my eyes about them right now. That might be one of my bad picks, but my other pick looks to be outstanding, and that's the New Orleans Saints. I said that before the season. That team looks dangerous to me.
Yes.
That's who I'm picking to be my sleeper. And so, look, they whooped up on the Carolina 47-10. They did what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
They beat up a bad team. But they went to Dallas.
Home opener.
Playoff team. Favored to be a Super Bowl contender, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And honestly. And also, always talked about as an upper echelon team. They went in there and manhandled them. Slapped them around like you slap around. Well, I can't. I'm not going there. But Buzzer's been active today, man. Woo! But the Northern are my sleeper NFC team. I like your pick too, but I think they'll come down to earth. New Orleans, I think, will be right there. And I'll tell you another one. Tampa, they were in the playoffs and they actually won.
That's why
you can't call them a sleeper, but they're going to be tough. That New Orleans Tampa game, whenever that happens, that's going to be something else. New Orleans offense, they have scored on every single drive they've been on. They've been on 14 drives and they've scored on all of them. Either a touchdown or a field goal.
91 points in 2 games.
Crazy. Yeah, that's insane. Yep, 47-10 and then 44-19 yesterday over the Dallas Cowboys, which is lovely because anytime Dallas gets beat is a lovely day.
And that's why it's hard to take the Dallas Cowboys serious in a sense of being
and Dallas fans just don't get it. They don't understand why they get so much hate. It's because you cause it by we them boys and all that other stuff, and then they fail, and then we got to hear all the excuses. So
I don't know. Like I think they're solid, and I mean, and possibly win the division. I mean, Philly's the only good team. Washington is decent, but they're playing with a rookie quarterback in Jalen Daniels. So maybe they win the NFCs, but I don't trust them when it comes to the playoffs, Pep. I don't.
But here's what's impressive. Dallas went up to Cleveland and looked like, oh boy, they really look like they did. They're gonna be a top 2 team in the NFC to deal with, and they still might. But they got brought down to earth. They got humbled yesterday. Now you could pump the brakes a little bit, right? And they might get back to thrashing. We'll know, but we all know that they can be thrashed.
And then they saw it. This is why though you don't come out with your fraud list though until around week 5. There's no need to put anything too much into them losing like that against a Saints team that has put up a bevy of points early on. It's early. It's only week 2.
Early.
Week 3 is
That's
on
why I
the
like to give it a
horizon.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why week 4, week 5, then I'll after those weeks, I'll like, yeah, this team's a fraud. You're gonna find out. And so, but there's also, unfortunately, there's a bunch of injuries, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna affect a lot of teams. Debo is out for a couple of weeks, probably due to calf strain. So that's going to hurt the Niners, who's already down with Christian McCaffrey because he's on reserve, so he's got to miss 4 games.
Yep.
The Rams are in deep doo-doo. They're finding out life after Aaron Donald sucks. So they're now Cooper Kupp will be out for extended period of time. He's got an ankle injury, so they're probably looking at 4 weeks. They're thinking about putting him on injured reserve. That's 4 weeks right there. And then, of course, we know about Tua and his concussion. Miami's coming up here. But if I were the Seahawks, I'm preparing.
Yeah.
As if the guy that's at quarterback is just as good or better than Tua. That's the way you gotta look at it.
I feel so bad for Tua. I watched that play live.
Oh, it was terrible.
I know I can say that. I just wish he would have slid, and he had time to do that. I didn't understand the whole diving forward for extra yards, man. It was just so unfortunate, man. I know they're talking about what's best for his career now, because this is his 3rd concussion or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Man, and it's sad to hear that, especially when he's been playing so well. Just got the new contract, but I do hope he makes the necessary decisions and does what's right. I do think Tua will be back on the field, but it can't be at the cost of life outside.
No, but here's the thing: if he decides to quit, he doesn't get his guaranteed money. He loses all of it. If the NFL won't clear him, then he gets his money. And now the NFL, it's a conundrum, because if the NFL says no, you can play, that makes it look like they don't want to pay him.
Yeah.
So, yeesh. But to be honest, I don't want him to play.
I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not.
I don't, for his own safety, right? I mean, maybe they can come to a compromise as far as look, go ahead and shut it down and give him X amount of dollars, not 90 something that he would get, right?
No way.
But 30 or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just off the top of my head, but give him some kind of compensation to, at least we won't have to, be in a food line or anything like that. But so that's terrible. But the Miami Dolphins coming up here, and the Seahawks got to deal with Skylar Thompson. And then, of course, the Dolphins signed Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad. And I've always liked Tyler Huntley. I was hoping the Seahawks would pick him up at some point rather. That's never happened, and it obviously won't now. So we'll see what happens. Miami's going to be motivated because they're going to want to show that they can still bring it, and plus they want to be able to keep pace with Buffalo. Even though Buffalo just beat them down, they still got to try and keep pace and with the Jets too now, because the Jets got their win. So Miami and the Jets are tied with New England as well. So Miami doesn't want to fall too far behind. So they're going to be motivated to come up here and beat the Seahawks. So what have you thought about the Seahawks so far in the first 2 games?
Man, I mean, I know you talked about it a lot. Defensively, they've been playing really well so far, and that is definitely a start to a team that is actually trying to win and compete at a high level. So that's one thing I do like so far. Offensively, still work in progress. I know we just lost Kenneth Walker again, and I don't know what it is about Seattle and these running backs post Marshawn Lynch who just can't stay healthy, and it's just driving me crazy. all the running backs that we have been through who can't seem to stay healthy. But it's all been positives. Like I said, defensively, the Seahawks have been really good. And like I said, Pat, that's something that you had saw the difference in preseason, and so far it's carrying over. I would have liked to see if Tua was healthy, how the defense would have held up against the Dolphins then. But even then, you got to do your job come Sunday, regardless of who's on the field. But the Seahawks have done just enough offensively to get it done. But I'm liking what I see so far. And I know we were talking about sleepers earlier. The Seahawks are the team that I've been hearing through the grapevine are what a lot of people like to consider a sleeper team in the NFL. So I'm not mad at that either.
Right. This is a good matchup for a good test matchup for the Seahawks because Seahawks pride themselves on having a great secondary, and the Miami Dolphins have receivers that can burn the heck out of you, make you look silly. And then, of course, they've got a good running attack.
Yep.
Achane. I like him a lot, and Jeff Wilson Jr. And Mostert probably might be back. So, that's a test. Even though they didn't show it against the Bills the other night. This is the NFL. The NFL is week to week. You can't go by that.
The Patriots had 180 rushing yards, 2 on us. So yeah.
And people saying, "Oh, I thought Mike McDonald's. I thought our defense was." I said, "Look, this is the NFL, folks.
Yeah.
Every team has good to great players. You're not going to be able to shut everybody down every game. You're going to have some issues. Each game has its own personality. What I like about what's going on with the Seahawks now is in-game adjustments that they've made. They've made adjustments against Denver in the second half when they couldn't run in the first half. They ran all over them in the second half, and then Geno got play action going, and that's how your run game opens up the passing lanes. Yesterday, no Ken Walker. Zach Charbonnet is not an every down back. Zach Charbonnet is a guy that's good in the flat. He's good at chipping the rush, right? And blocking the rush, and then, getting a chip and then getting out to the flat, getting a screen pass or whatever, or getting a flat like he did against Denver. When he got open in the flat and ran for a touchdown. That's Charbonnet's game. What I'm a little disappointed is this Kenny McIntosh didn't get any run. That's the guy that should be replacing Ken Walker as far as getting your every downs, because he's a heavy hitter kind of guy. And he can't, and it's going to take some time, of course, because he hasn't gotten any run but we saw what he did in the preseason. And they're saying, oh, that's preseason. Well, you know what? Preseason, you create good habits, and it also creates bad habits that carry over into the regular season.
Agree.
And like I said, Kenny McIntosh is the type of back that Ken Walker is, as far as he can get upfield and he can make decisions and cuts. That's not Zach Charbonnet's game, right? So we struggled in the run yesterday. However, you got to give Geno his flowers. He threw for 327. He never panicked. He's starting to step up now a little bit, right, in the pocket. Sometimes not as fast as we'd like, but it's a work in progress. And the Seahawks are much better when they play up tempo.
Agree.
When they get into the huddle and all that, that's when they start to slow down and it gets clogged up and you can't, and they're not running or the passing lane's not open. But when they get into up tempo and create space, that's their game. And the in-game adjustment that I loved about Mike McDonald, especially yesterday, was so evident. In the first half, Hunter Henry, the tight end for the Patriots, was having a buffet feast. I mean, he was up there eating shrimp and lobster, and he was killing it, right? After he had 7 catches for 98 yards in the first half. In the middle of the second quarter, that started to slow down because McDonald said, look, Julian, go ahead and come down and handle anytime you see Hunter Henry going across the middle, that's your guy.
Yep.
He got one catch after halftime. That's it. He got shut down. And then Brissett was under pressure a lot, right? And he could not find any open wide receiver because the only wide receiver that caught a pass was KJ Osborne and a little 5-yard pass that he caught near the ground, and Jalen Polk's touchdown in the first quarter. Those are the only 2 wide receivers that got anything.
Yep.
Everything else was shut down as far as the passing lane. Now, yes. Now look, people are saying, "Oh, I thought Seahawks fixed the run." That's a work in progress. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson.
He's good.
Any relation? He had 120 yards against Cincinnati.
Uh-huh.
They beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. So this win in New England is impressive in and of that alone.
Uh-huh.
The jury's still out on how good New England really is. But obviously, they've got a star running back. They got 2 because that other guy was good too. But here's another thing I like about what the Seahawks defense did. When they needed a stop, they got it.
Yep.
You couldn't say that for the last 4 years under the other coaching regime, because every time the Seahawks needed a stop, they failed. And anytime they got a stop, they still failed because they got a penalty that gave them first downs anyway. That's not happening right now. That tells you right away the difference between last year specifically and what's going on right now. I know it's only 2 games, but you have to be able to see progress, and that's what we're seeing.
Agree.
We're seeing progress. That's how it works.
Pep, if 4th and 1, last 3 minutes, I think, of the game, you're on your side of the field, were you kicking that field goal to tie it, or would you?
Absolutely. I'm kicking that thing to tie. Absolutely. Because I'm kicking it to tie, and then in overtime, if they got the ball first and we get a stop, we're going to score.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
If we had the ball first, I believe Geno would have drove down the field because Geno figured them out. Jackson Smith and Jigba was phenomenal.
Man, he killed.
DK was a beast.
DK, yeah.
And then listen, AT&T. You know what AT&T means? Always trust Tyler. Because listen, anytime you throw to Tyler, I've got nothing but confidence that he's going to make the catch. He already proved that last week, and he only caught 3 balls yesterday, or 2 or 3 balls, right?
2
in the last drive. That's him.
Yep.
That's who he is.
Agreed.
We got him. Nobody else does. That guy is awesome. So yeah. So that's what I like about so far what's happening with this team. Now look, I understand that they're going to be playing better teams eventually. The Dolphins, like I said, is a good matchup test for them. Detroit coming up. That's in Detroit. That's going to be a tough test. Of course, they play the Rams twice and then 49ers twice. Rams are in trouble. They're going to be 0-3 because they're not beating San Francisco Sunday. Not without Cooper Kupp. No Nakua. He's out as well. And they got injuries galore on the defense. And there's no Aaron Donald in the middle anymore. They are in trouble.
What do you think of the Cardinals so far?
Oh, listen.
I know you seen Marvin Harrison yesterday.
Yeah, don't sleep on them because they should have beaten Buffalo.
Yeah, they should.
They lost that game, but they should have won that game. They blew it. But hey, it happens. So all right, they blew it. Then they went home. Their home opener took on the Rams, beat the Arizona Cardinals 9 straight times in Phoenix. Okay? Cardinals said enough of this. Sometimes the bully gets beat up. And that's what happened. So please, folks, don't get all happy because the Cardinals whooped the Rams and you think that the Seahawks are going to do the same, beat up the Cardinals as usual. No. Kyler Murray had a perfect quarterback rating yesterday, guys. So, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, he had one catch for 4 yards on
There was
last
some.
Sunday.
There was some little media coverage about that.
It was, of course,
Yeah.
and rightly so, because they're asking Kyler Murray what's going on with that, and he said, "Hey, look, that's not my job. My job is to get the ball to where whoever's open."
Yeah.
And that's a smart thing. Actually, it's tough to hear.
Yeah.
But that's actually a smart thing to say because it gets your rookie to thinking, "Oh, I need to get open. I need to work to get open." And boy, did he.
And I think a lot of people took that wrong, what he said, thinking it's not his job to get Marvin Harrison the ball, but I think you said it right. It's not his job to force Marvin Harrison to get open.
That's what Bryce Young
the ball. Yeah. But yeah, they bounced back and definitely meshed 4 catches, 130 plus yards, 2 touchdowns from Marvin Harrison. I got a team for you that I know came in this season after the disappointing season they had last year after losing their starting quarterback in week 1. They are now 1-1 off to a slow start offensively, in my opinion. But what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and his return in the New York Jets?
Well, they played San Francisco game 1, and that was a tough go. That was a struggle in San Fran. And, of course, with San Francisco's defense, that's going to be tough on anybody, especially at home. So you can't really judge that one. Then they went to Tennessee, who people are saying, well, they're terrible. Are they, though? I mean, I don't know. Did Jamal play at all? I can't remember. I don't remember seeing him. Did he play at all?
I don't think so. I think he's been out.
Yeah, Titans, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jamal Adams did play. He did play.
Okay, so he played. Did
One
he get
tackle.
hurt? One tackle. Yeah, real impact guy. That guy. Whew, boy. Anyway, but yeah, the Titans are, they're, let's just call it mediocre, right? So, and then their quarterback is just an idiot. That guy makes the worst decisions in the NFL right now.
Will Levis,
not named Bryce Young. Yeah, he is. Man, his decision making is atrocious.
Yeah, those might be the 2 worst quarterbacks in the league. So.
Yeah, they had Chicago blown out. And just, they were up 17-0. That's on the verge of a blowout. One more score and you're like 24-0, right? No, they gave it up. And then they lose to the Jets, So the Jets play New England Thursday. Now, that might be a better test because New England beat Cincinnati. And they gave the Seahawks all they can handle. So this Thursday will be a more of a see if they're fraudulent or on the way up type of situation for the Jets.
What's your thought before we get out of here on Caleb Williams and his performance so far?
You know what? All the hype is probably legit. But let's cut him some slack because even though they do have some great weapons, teams will go after you when you're the number 1 pick. Okay? And then they know what Chicago has put in there. And so they're circling. Teams are now circling Chicago on the schedule. Detroit, teams are circling you on the schedule, right? Because you were once the hunters. Now you're the hunted. And it's a whole different ball game whether you're the hunted. Caleb Williams will be fine, but he's got to learn to make decisions. He needs to make quicker decisions.
Yes.
Right. And then, of course, their defense is legit though because they held Houston under 20 points.
Yes.
You hold a team to 16 points, you got to win that game.
Yep.
Right. So Chicago's on the. They'll get there. And like I said, it's still early, so they'll be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Man, I can't wait. I told you I'm doing a much better job, Pep. I've been on it week after week.
Oh, yeah.
Much football as I can. And I
Awesome.
can say it has a little bit more fun now that I'm actually locked in.
All right.
Season. But I still love college football more, which has been super fun as well. So
yeah, maybe we'll get it. Hopefully we'll get into some of that next week.
Definitely.
But
definitely.
yeah, we're done for now. So everybody, thank you for coming back. and listening to us once again right here on Rainier Avenue Radio .world, LidLine Sports. See you guys next week. Promise.